Okay, so we're going to continue our discussion about adjustments and layers. So right here, we're looking at a photograph that is overexposed. There's a lot of rich gradients and color that can be brought out in this photograph. So thinking of how we were working in the previous movie, I'm just going to click and drag my background to the new layer icon and create a background copy. I'm going to rename that corrections here. And you can name it whatever you feel is appropriate for the layer itself. As it's more complicated, you want to be more specific with how you name these. So here we have our new layer that's called corrections. And I'm going to go up to the image pull down menu in the application bar, and then adjustments, and then brightness contrast. So here we're looking at correcting the overexposure. You can see our histogram is really far to the right. None of those shadowed areas are coming in. So we're going to want to dial that down. So let's bring this overall value to the right. And you can see that moves our histogram and gives us a -50 brightness value. Now, the other thing that happens when we're correcting is that while you're pulling something away, you have to adjust the contrast and add information back. So if we go to the left with contrast, you can see that it's not really improving the image all that much. We really want to bump it up and create that effect where the darker values are darker and the brighter values are brighter. So here we can see that that really helps this particular image. Now if we look at our overall before and after, before we hit OK, we can see that's the before and then that's the after. We're getting a histogram that looks like it's in the middle, and we can tell by that and by our eye that this photograph is corrected. We can do more to this image, however. We can hit OK, and that'll apply that correction to this layer. If we turn on and off the visibility there, you can see it's only on this layer. But we can do more things to this layer too. We can do more than one adjustment. Here I'm going to go to image adjustments, and you can see that there's a lot of other options here, as well as a lot of other aspects of editing that we have covered before, but I'm just going to highlight one. It's color balance. So here you can see that the color balance adjustment is based on adding one color versus the opposite color, or the complementary color. Cyan, red, yellow, blue, magenta, green. And what if we just want to add a little bit of a color to this photograph? And I'm going to come in and add a little bit of blue here just to adjust that. You can see it takes away a lot of the warmth in the sun, but it also adds some dimensionality to the colors themselves. The other thing is that we can complicate this by adding different colors. Here, if we go green, we can see that it changes to a blue-green or a magenta blue. Here, I'm just going to go back to 0, and if we wanted to change and add more cyan to this blue, you can see that that crisps up that color. And it's really about your emotional response to color that you're really trying to navigate here while you're editing this. But I think here's our before, and then here's our after. And this creates an image that is more uniform and monochromatic. Here we'll sit and hit OK, and then that correction is applied to this layer and this layer alone. So we just applied two corrections, And remember, we can always be flexible by changing our opacity slider. If we don't like both of our adjustments at 100%, we can dial it down a little bit if we think that is necessary.